Okay, off we go. Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. I am doing really well. I just felt like I have to, try and organize the brain before I actually come out and do this. It will sort itself out. It always does in the end, right? I'm a bit all over the place because new things or things are really improving, and I'm not completely sure to what extent it is the shift from the Shakti work that I've done to to the Tummo process that I described in my previous couple of videos, or what exactly is going on. Maybe there are other factors out there, astrological factors. I haven't looked at any of that in the past week because I've been really busy, because I've been drawing almost all week. Every day I've made at least one, and I will share them with you in a bit, image of some sort. And it's going so well that I'm freaked out, basically. I don't know what to... It's too good to be true. That's what it is. This is really intense for me, guys. I have never been this free to make what I like, what I want, without trying to look up my own ass the whole time, without interfering in my own process, without being my own little dictator, that I'd internalized. So, last week, today's Friday, 31st of January, 2020. Last Sunday, I had rather a deep psychological kind of a release. Yes, that's what Jennifer called it, and that's absolutely true. It turns out that had everything to do with apparently a part of me that I have been very good at camouflaging for myself because I don't like the way, that it was organized in my brain. So how do you do, the extracting of material inside yourself that you're programmed with, that you don't want to see anymore, or that you never wanted to see, basically, that's hurting you, causing you trouble to yourself, to other people? I think Tummo's the answer. Yeah, I think so. There's a couple of buts and ifs to go with the whole Tummo thing. So first of all, I can tell that there's quite a big difference in how much it does, how much work it actually does inside me, going from the Shakti energy work that I've done all year in 2019, which was really localized. It was a clear vibrational exercise. It was hardly ever, or only at the very beginning, a visualization. Because even though I don't disapprove of visualizations at all, they don't, the thing is that with that type of an approach, you are still in your mind. Your mind, my mind certainly, from in a visualization, it's going to be about what's happening in here. And I'm not against that at all, and I think it can still be very helpful, but it's not the same as the real thing. I've always struggled, especially recently in the last couple of years, with, okay, so I'm visualizing this, that, or the other, pretty landscape, beautiful memories, whatever it is, peace and quiet. Why am I not here? Why is my being here as it is not good enough, or what is it? Why can't I access here what I need? Okay, so that's my big button if with the thing that's called visualization, basically, for me. Okay, so all this, everything on my channel anyway, is just my personal approach to these types of things and my needs and my story, right? So if you, I suppose it depends very much what you want, what you need, where your problems are, how maybe for some people visualizing on a regular basis is enough and it's fine and it does the thing that they need, but not for me. So I think it's important that I actually talk about this because I make art, and for that to work, for me to be free in that, I need to be vibrationally free and not just mentally, not just up here, right? I need to be whole as a person. So that's one of the things. The other thing that's going on with this is that, so I don't know, maybe I should try to describe a bit more the difference between the Shakti work and the Tummo. I have done maybe 2 or 3, like, I don't know, 2.5 full Tummo sessions as far as I can go with that at the moment. There's a couple of interesting bits to that as well, because there's more going on than meets the eye with this whole process anyway. So I'm just very much discovering it still. It's quite new. As far as I know, there is nobody out there sharing any experiences with this type of meditation and then what it does to them in their lives, how it feels. So that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. I think it's pretty awesome, if you don't mind. And also, if you do mind, I mean, then you just go watch something else, okay? The thing is, with Shakti, the way I did Shakti energy work, which I called that, was that I sort of did a diagnosis for myself for an area in my body or anywhere that I could sort of come in contact with. And I brought the Shakti energy to that location. I noticed quite early on when I started this process that the Shakti will follow you wherever you go. So if you're focused on your lower back area, for example, an area that lots of people have problems with, and your Shakti energy is in your root chakra area, okay, that's where the access point is. If you manage to relax sufficiently for the heat of the Shakti to come into your body, in relatively manageable dosage, which is what tends to happen, I think. I don't think Shakti isn't out to overwhelm us completely. It's strong and powerful, but it doesn't just sweep you away with it completely, because we are very complex creatures there's a lot to us, and Shakti is pure energy. It's not going to completely bulldoze you, even though it may feel overwhelming or very strong or very fiery. It will not. It will go along the paths that are available to it. And yes, it will show you, and I suppose I spent all 2019 getting used to that type of reality, really, while I was meditating and sitting with this stuff. And it will show you what's going on, and it will elaborate and tell you things, and things will start to happen in your life. And it also depends on what's happening in the world, of course. So this is, for me, it's great timing. Everything is coming together really, really well, with a lot of our processes in the world for all of us together going towards, greater demands being made on us, how we are coping with things and how we are doing things, how we're treating the planet, how we're treating each other, and how we're treating ourselves. All sorts of things that in the time when I was growing up, in the 60s and 80s and 90s and whatever, it was still completely normal to treat each other and treat things like, you know, like they had no value. Nowadays, we are all much more becoming more and more aware of what has value, really, which is another thing that I made a video about recently. So, yeah, all that's kind of very much in sync with each other, which is very cool and gorgeous. And so, Shakti energy work, on the one hand, is you deciding where the Shakti should go. The Shakti follows along wherever you want it to go. It's very helpful. I still think of it as a very valuable, helpful type of work, going about a method, if you like, if you can call it that. But there's a couple, like, you have to decide where you're supposed to be going with it. You have to be relatively persistent. You have to keep track of, you have to have time also to see what it does to you. You have to get into the relaxation and all that. With Tummo, it's like most of that just does itself all of a sudden. It's you don't need a lot of discipline. I think there's a certain level of Tummo inside me now as I speak, and I haven't really worked on it for at least 48 hours. So it's like, which is another Shakti energy thing anyway, because Tummo is Shakti, only in a different state. It's a next level Shakti completely. So that's rather cool, right? There's lots of cool stuff here. Let me think. It's like you introduce the Shakti into the second chakra. And there's more to be said about that also, because I've discovered that as a woman, that means my Shakti will sort of be contained at first during my sort of onset or beginning of my Tummo meditation, okay? My Shakti will be in my second chakra. I'm just sort of holding it there. I'm sitting there close to it, and this is where we are, because that's the focus I need for Tummo to happen. That location where that occurs is like on top of my womb, of the organ of my uterus, like so, on the roof, as it were. Now, it happens that this week, during the whole of this week, it's my PMS week. And what I then get, which is something that happens by itself also quite naturally, is that my uterus, because of the hormonal changes, needs more energy than it is getting. And I am feeling, and I have felt that way for quite a long time, that my whole female organ system, my feminine reproductive system, is something that tends to take a toll, if you want to look at it that way. Now, I suppose it might be different. I gotta have my handkerchief here. Yes, that's better. If you have children, maybe more than one, or maybe just one, I don't know. I suppose then it's different. It feels more like, okay, but I have this huge actualization, this manifestation of this life energy in these children, right? There is all this life, there's the future, there's my kids. I can imagine that. I haven't got any kids myself, and I'm not going to. So I have spent quite a portion of my, 40 years or so, having a hormonal cycle that does not yield that harvest, if you like, if I can put it that way. So the investment in the future and the manifestation of life and all that's supposed to basically come out of this body here. So all that time, there is how I look at it now, what with Tummo happening, and with Tummo, it's like all of the Shakti energy, or yeah, probably quite a big helping of Shakti. It's a lot more intense, right? And it becomes a new system. The Shakti is introduced into the second chakra and creates a whole new life there from there on out and upwards. A whole new space, even. That's Tummo. And it kind of means that there is no energy left. It's not true, of course, because everything's still working, but it kind of does that where there's less energy. There's less energy left for the reproductive system, that for females is sitting just underneath this area, just underneath this tumor. It's like it's being bypassed. And this morning, I've had a bit of headaches during the week and all that. It was fine, really. But this morning, I noticed that it was colder down there. And it wasn't, it felt like, okay, so it cannot do the real asking for the energy, but it is actually asking. So I should give it some Shakti. I shouldn't do any more Tummo now. I should just let's just have it, let it have the Shakti that it needs, okay? So basically I'm using those words, they're not the same. Shakti is the energy we work with, and Tummo is a new system, okay? That's just to keep track of things, hopefully, okay? And that worked really well. I can sort of feel that, okay, so I just have to let that sit there, probably because it's a yes-no question. At the top of the uterus is like a dividing line. Your vibration is gonna go into your reproductive system, or it is not going there, in which case you can do with it whatever you want, whatever suits your nature best. And that's where the whole developmental and psychodramatic intensity of the Tummo has come out for me very strongly the past week, because of, what I've been doing and things. Because I get to finally do the things that I love best, express myself. I get to express myself. Yay God, it's incredible. So what with this being a very intense exercise, and it being like it feels like a massive personal transformation. So that's also probably, I sound a bit more hesitant and whatever, because I'm trying to do the talking at the same time. And, I found that I needed to have a balance between the intensity of the Tummo and something that sort of slows me down again. And I had to even do a sort of a soul connection again, which is like, to me, is like going into a higher self frame of mind, if you like, where everything just sort of calms down. Everything simmers down to a level of the only thing that's there is really the purest intention and the result of many actions, and it's a different world. So in order for me to, to also make this slightly more easily handled for anyone who's watching this, good luck to you. Good luck to both of us. I have these two. So I took out my little rose quartz skull here, skull face, skull head. I've had him for a couple of years now, and he's really white in color. Maybe I can show him a bit closer like that. He's quite tiny. He used to be pink, but he's white because he was in the fireplace for quite a while. He survived really beautifully, and he's got quite an intense, I suppose, an intense third eye kind of a vibration to him that I really like a lot. And he's got he's like the soul connection in this story here. And on the other hand, I've got a pink opal, like so, that I found. I kind of found them in my stuff, not really together, but very close in time together. I first found one and then I found the other, like immediately afterwards. And I have carried them around in my pocket yesterday and had them sort of around close to where I am most of the time. And that worked. So that way what I kind of get is from the combination of them is that there's like an interface between those two worlds. The world of the higher self, if you like, and the world of the Tummo. They share a part. There's a part in them or some kind of a meaning or significance, whatever, that's really, that feels reassuring for me because I'm a very emotional person. And I tend to, if I'm just all into Tummo, I noticed also that I get angry more easily. I feel everything is even more, what you call that? Like super 3D in your face reality emotions like that. It's like it's constantly resonating and vibrating, and it's it's a lot of work, and I find also that I have to it's not normally how I tend to live. I am used to living a bit more of a temperate manner, a bit more controlled, certainly, and I'm letting that go, but I don't want to let it all go all in one go. That's just not so, it just doesn't feel good because, the anger, and there's that as well. And I suppose I've, been thinking about people and about things that happened to me as well in the past, and there's some long overdue anger there. But there's also simple anger, like feeling alone and ignored and whatever, not being able to communicate what I'm doing, not being able to talk to husband because he was at work and busy and all week long. It's been very hectic on his end. So, it's, you don't want to overdo things. I believe firmly that you want to stay in control like a grown-up person. They have to, sort of do it one chapter at a time anyway, because if you do it all in one go, you're going to go crazy and it's too much. And either that or nothing happens because it just gets blocked and you go. So maybe that's really another little caveat here for any type of Shakti or Kundalini work is you have to monitor it. You have to manage it. You have to sit on top of it. You have to take the time, journal, look at things, be authentic, be honest with yourself, know what your life story is like, be open-minded, be positive, all those things. And then it's a great tool, but still it's all up to you, really, what you do with it. And anything is possible, basically, and there's lots of power inside us that is just waiting to be used. So I had nice cards as well. Yeah, so that's my next little bit here. I'm gonna have me a glug of tea. I pulled cards for the first time in like an age and a half this morning, and what I tend to do is I pull little Grimaud Marseille cards, Star, the Three of Wands, the Two of Cups, like so. So that felt pretty good. Then I had another set of three, which was the Page, is that? Yes, Page of Cups, Two of Pentacles, and the King of Wands, no less. Which is to me like, okay, so I can see how there's lots that can be said about these cards. but it feels to me like a very, it's a very appealing sketch of a very good new beginning for me. The twos and the threes, and the page card and the star. Actually, all of those 5 cards really represent for me all the opportunities that I'm having at the moment. All these choices, all like a world of choices and options. And the King of Wands to me represents basically also wanting to, I was going to say harvest, but that would be a King of Pentacles kind of a thing. Reap the rewards. That was the first thing I was going to say. Yes, the first thing that came to my mind is to reap the rewards of the work that has gone before. And it's been quite a lot of work. So what at first looks like a little, kind of a bit of a disjointed spread to me, in the end it isn't, of course, because anyway, more can be said. More can be said about that. And I picked out what I tend to do is I tend to look up these cards. I look up in my Kabbalistico tarot to see what whether anything else comes out of that. And I can see also that there's not necessarily all that much. It's more this, it sort of contributes to my feeling of the new beginning, how these cards are, most of them are really well balanced with, you know, in the Tree of Life pattern, which is on top like that. So this is the king. This is the King of Wands right there, and his position is at the top, the top Sephiroth right there. And then I have the 2. I have 2 2s, which are number 2 on that end. So also at the top. My page, I'm going into the other direction here. The page is the only one that has the bottom position, so the Malkut Sephiroth, like the bottom end of the Tree of Life there. Then I have another 2, so that's that one again, at the top right there. And the 3 is the opposite end of the other side right there, this side of the Tree of Life at the top. And the star is the only one that actually does a connecting band in the middle there between 2 Sephiroth, which is what the major arcana are doing in the Tree of Life. And I suppose this is then a connection between what I look at as, because that's what I found online and it works really well for me. The middle right there, Yesod, that Sephiroth, is actually the domain of the moon. And the domain over here, the green one, the green sphere that you see there, is the domain of Venus. So the star, even though it says Aquarius here, there's like an astrological connection to that card. It's a connection between parts of life. The Tree of Life is about different activities and different intentions that we're engaged in. And for quite a long time, I have basically drawn cards that showed me again and again that I was living on this end only of the tree, right? So that's the side of things that has Saturn, Mars, and Mercury very strongly, I'm tempted to say masculine, patriarchal approaches to life, right? So there's an analysis, distinction, rationality, perseverance, lots of good things there's in there, okay? But I was lacking on this side. I have had like the half of all the cards that I ever pulled from this deck were 5s, and that's that one in the middle. So that's the position of Mars. And I have been a Martian. Yes. A Martian woman, pretending to be a man, pretending to be, all sorts of things. Whereas on the other side is the realm of, like I pointed out just now, Venus, and above that, Jupiter. And that's what I'm becoming a part of now more and more. It's still something I'm just sort of also waiting to see what else comes out, what else happens in the future with people, with relationships and things, because I have been mostly alone for very many years of my life, and I am sort of groomed to be alone. Some of us are just hermits, and then you look at relationships very differently from if you are surrounded by groups and you have lots of relatives and people connecting with you all the time, and that's a different world anyway. So maybe most of my Venus Jupiter expression in life that I'm basically looking for is actually in my drawings, which I'm finally going to get to now. So I am thinking that also half an hour in, I will make a separate video, because then I can film them better and you can see them better. Okay, so I have 10 paintings, drawings in inks and stuff that I made during the week, and I will probably go back on to do a bit more in the course of this afternoon, because I've got a couple of hours more left, and I'm having a whale of time with that, and basically just letting it all hang out, So this was my witchy check-in part, I hope. Also, what with the Shakti and Tummo experiences, I've been sort of dialing it down on the Tummo quite a bit, because I know how it works now. There's another element in that I will probably have to postpone talking about until I know more, so that will be like in a couple of weeks' time or so, that I can actually, because there's more. There is always more about energy work. So I hope you find this profitable in your life. That would be so awesome. And as always, thank you for watching, and see you around next time. Okay? Bye-bye. Thank you.